welcome to the Cosplay Care Panel. I'm Olivier. I started doing this panel because I noticed that a lot of panels about costuming is about how to look cute in the costume, how to look good in the costume, and after that it's often stopped. So in this we're going to talk about the whole bit after wearing a costume. Let's see, because it's not green. Yes. Where do we start is often what I'm asking myself once I've finished something. We're going to talk about the type of costumes, the type of fabrics, the type of repairs, type of dirtiness, type of cleaning, and type of storing of the costumes. Let's see. I often divide costumes in two portions, which is a cosplay or a fursuit. Now we have a fursuiter in the audience. And I have one right here. Cosplay is often about wigs, fabric items like shirts, coats, pants, things along those lines, foam armor, foam props, things in that direction, and makeup. And with a fursuit it's often the head, the paws, tails, the padding below the fursuits, under armor, and props and things in that direction. Under armor is something I want to dive into a bit more, because below a fursuit you often wear a balaclava. These things are to keep you and your costume clean. It's a sweat-absorbing layer. You also have them in t-shirts. Now, Under Armour is a brand, and basically a type of, just like how we call Velcro, the material itself is not called Velcro, the brand is called Velcro. So they're just undergarments to keep you cool and clean in your costume. In cosplay, I often opt to wear it as well, just because it's more comfortable and because you can last longer in your costume when wearing. Type of fabric. There is a woven fabric and a knit fabric. You can often see if you have a piece of fabric or cloth. If it's fraying in straight strands of fabric, it's woven. If it's knit, it's often having the little V waves in it. And there are two more types of fabric, and I'm gonna ask you guys to figure out what it is. There is an example on the screen. I'll just tell it. It's organic fabrics and synthetic fabrics. Synthetic fabrics are lycra. The Under Armour is made out of lycra. It's very stretchy, but it's made out of plastic materials. Where organic fabric like cotton is wool as well, is a natural-based product. If you have a piece of fabric and you want to find out if it's organic or synthetic, the fastest way to figure it out is to take a strand of it and light it on fire. Exactly. If it's forming a hard bead, it's plastic, because plastic melts. If it's crumbling, if it's crumbling and ashy, it's an organic fabric. Organic often smells like burnt wood, where fabric just straight up smells like chemicals. So that bit, faux fur is 9 out of 10 times, because it's faux, it's a synthetic material, because if it's organic, it would be leather. So that's basically that bit. The synthetic fabrics don't do well with heat. That's something to straight up tell. It's the same kind of damage you get when you're using a straight iron on a wig. It just melts, it just crumbs. It's not a fun time. That's types of repairs. At home, I would suggest you, if you find a spot, repair it as you would have made it at home. And on a convention, I would suggest you guys to make a convention kit. On the paper that's on the tables, there are examples of stuff that are inside of these bags. In mine, at this moment, I have a sewing kit. Let's see. a first aid kit, and straight up a glue gun. So that's what I have written here right now. And on the paper there are more examples of what you could put in there. But yeah, it's often like good practice to just have this in your bag at a convention, because if someone else is having a problem with a costume or a prop or whatever, you can always lend a hand in preparing and get to know people. So that's also a fun thing. The type of dirtiness. This was the aftermath of having a fall photo shoot in a fursuit. Basically up to my hips. I was wet, I had leaves everywhere. That is my foam padding on my heels. That is just straight up rainwater and mud. So with this type of like wet dirtiness, I always remove the big clumps like the leaves and stuff, brush it out, get rid of the bigger things of the dirt and everything. It's iconic because this character is called Dirt, so that's why my brain kind of went short circuit. And with dry dirtiness, the examples of that are makeup stains, crumbs, basically everything you would immediately think pat it down. But makeup stains are oftentimes very difficult, because the inner ears of my fursuit are actually just beauty makeup. There is nothing airbrushed on this. So that stays there, that won't go anywhere, especially white fur. So with makeup, I would always ask cosplayers or people in costumes to seal that stuff, because you might be giving someone a hug and not think about it. And then their beautiful white gown somehow has a red spot on their shoulder, and you don't want to be the person that put that there. So now that we have this gross mess, we're gonna clean it. On the paper that I gave, there's also a recipe for vodka spray, which is a lifesaver for costumes that can't go into the washing machine. I wouldn't suggest doing this. This was just for a photo. Don't put your fursuit hat in the washing machine unless your maker explicitly says you can do it. Because with a lot of tuny suits these days, the makers are so incredible that you can actually put your fursuit hat in the washing machine. But if you aren't sure, please don't do it. For fursuits, I would always suggest getting a big bucket of water with your head, rinse it in till like this part, so the eyes are above the water, because a lot of times the fabric that the eyes are drawn onto is not really water resistant, so your eyes can bleed the ink in it. Just get a damp towel, rinse it out real well. The bucket of water, like try to get as much water out of it as possible, let it air dry on a fan, and that's how I would suggest to clean fursuit hats. With you have gorgeous manes. Exactly, that would be very difficult to clean that way. You would be, the best thing for that would be wig cleaners. They are selling wig kits, which is a shampoo and a conditioner. I would literally advise you to just like rinse that out as a separate piece. Is it removable or not? Sewn onto your mane. It's sewn onto it? Yeah, it's stuck. So take that as a whole separate piece of care and follow the directions on the bottle of the wig shampoo. For normal costumes, depends on what it is. If it has airbrush or painted markings on it, try and see what works. When I'm making a costume, I oftentimes opt for a little fabric cloth with the exact same techniques, the materials, everything on it. So I just throw that little separate cloth into the washing machine. If it comes out looking perfectly fine, the costume can go into the washing machine. If if something on it doesn't look good, you know something has special care for it. So that's how I would often advise people, like if you're working on a cosplay, make a little like test scrap along with it. Because if you throw that in the washing machine, it's not as bad as having your entire cosplay like not looking as good as it once did. Let's see, type of storage. I always think there are three main ways of storing cosplay. With folding, there is often the thing of it wrinkling. So there are wrinkles in your costume, which is difficult to iron out with some fabrics. In that case, I would advise you to hang your costume up. Only the problem with that is that it's taking a lot more space than it would be folded down. Another way to have your costume stored is on a display. My fursuit hat is hanging on a trophy mount in my bedroom. I have a special stand for it. I collect taxidermy and stuff, so it blends in just perfectly. So yeah, that looks absolutely amazing if you can do it, but it takes up a lot of space. And before I go to a con, I grab that thing, hang it upside down, shake it a bunch of times, and there's dust coming up of it. So if you can display it, I would say do it. But also think about a way to not have it get as dusty as it could be. If you guys have any questions, by the way, because I'm rambling on.
I did have a question more about the vodka mix.
Yes.
Do you recommend a certain percentage of vodka?
As high as it can be. I used 70% alcohol from the the drugstore, just like for cleaning wounds and stuff.
Yeah, I know you can get a pure vodka that's 69%.
Yeah,
pure,
I would.
but that's
between 90
really
and 70 is, in my opinion, the best. But you need to be sure that there is no colorants or anything in your vodka spray.
Oh, yeah.
Oftentimes vodka is just translucent.
And just also removing paints and
yeah,
such. So always on the part that you can't see, just test it out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One for the food and one for me.
I wouldn't advise that. I once have actors being like, oh, vodka, and just like take off the spray bottle, and they did this, they smelled it and immediately just closed it. Because that vodka has been it has been opened, out of storage, so it has been in summer. It's not gonna be tasty.
No,
it's not gonna be good. Let's see. No, it's no longer the good stuff. Hello. Yes, thank you. Well, that was that it. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions and like stuff pops up on the convention itself, do come by. Do tackle me, preferably not in fursuit because I can see you. I'm now thinking if I have forgotten stuff.
If you clean foam inside of the hat, it's
yes.
just with the spray and...
with spray, water also just works like water and soap. They have a thing called a green machine, which is basically a vacuum cleaner for couches and mattresses and stuff. I have one at home. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm eager to test it out on fursuit.
I know it works great on couches and such, so...
A fursuit is basically a couch you can wear, so no hard feelings, but that's basically what a fursuit is. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, that was that. How long did that last me? I have been rambling through this a lot. Oh God!
It was really fun.
We have a lot of time left.
So
next time I can do this in 15 seconds instead of 45.
in 10 seconds left.
Yeah. If you guys are already thinking, bye-bye, please go. If you have any more questions or want to come see stuff up close or ask questions about fursuits, be my guest. I'm standing here.
Yeah. How did you take your measurement? Did you do the duct tape away?
For my body? Or,
yeah, for body and the head.
The head, I used basically like they sell mannequins that are standard. And I use that as well for special effect makeup. I'm working in LARP and theater and stuff along those lines as well. So I had that thing already, and those head sizes were basically my own.
Oh,
so I just went with those. And for my body, this is a partial. I don't have the rest of the body upstairs, it's downstairs. But a partial means it's not a full body, but it's just the arms, the feet, the tail, oftentimes lower legs, loose bits. So that was just a matter of like taking measurements of my arms, then making the arms, and tracing my hands on the paper, and that were the measurements of my hands. So that way it's made kind of quick and dirty.
If it works, it works.
It works perfectly fine, and because I'm often making costumes, it's like second nature to make something, so I don't even think about how to get measurements of something. You just, oh, I have it, so.
It's experience.
Yeah.
I guess if you have a full suit and you wash it really wet, it's probably the best to not hang it. Let it lie.
Let it lie down when dry, indeed. If you have a bathtub, just lie it in the bathtub, because then the water can just drain out. If you don't have a bathtub, you can just lay it down in the shower floor. I oftentimes lay it on a towel. So when I have cleaned the full body, I get a beach towel that I lay on the floor, then I put a beach towel on top of that. Then I roll it up in the two beach towels, so that most of the water is absorbed by the towel and no longer in the suit. And then I just lay it down to dry furthermore. I personally also, when cleaning costumes, try to do it on hotter days. So if it's Larry's Sun summer, then you can just lay it out in the garden or on the balcony to dry, because then the wind and like the sun is doing a lot of the work and not a dampy shower. So yeah.
About sun, how is it? I mean, if you have the fabric ones, which are, is it the sun? Can it do a lot of damage?
Sun damage. Most dyes these days are chemical, so that's a lot less difficult to be damaged. That sentence didn't come out good. The chemical dyes don't get sun damage as quick. Of course, it will fade over time, but airbrushing also fades over time. If you have a full suit or like a normal costume, if you wear it, it also wears down. So in that case, it's basically like someday it's not going to look as good as the first day. That's always going to happen. And whilst trying to like slow down that process as much as possible, it will always happen. So that's.
Is there any kind of care stuff like sprays or something to protect it against being out or sealing it?
Yeah, foam, like foam armor, you can seal in with clear coats of like paint, and that will protect the paint from like wear and tear. Fabrics, I'm not really sure if there are any seals to protect it, but fur, faux fur in this case, it's often like the dye is in the hairs itself. So on the markings here, the paint is on top of the hairs because I painted it afterwards. But the grey mohawk is just grey. I can like wash this 10,000 times, but it's gonna stay grey because it's in the dye itself, in the hairs itself.
Also with foam, certain foams you can seal with just hot air. So with hot air.
Yeah, EVA foam.
EVA foam, for example, yeah.
With hot air. But if you have painted over it, then the paint is gonna be like exposed, so
Yeah.
you also need to seal that.
Just where, what's the best place you think to buy materials to foam for?
I often opt for Cosplay shop, BA, I believe. If you're Dutch or from around here, then Bonshop.nl. That's where I got his fur. Now I will admit, the white fur is in such incredibly high quality. It cost me 50 euros the meter. So for a square of a meter by a meter, I had 50 euros. So in that case, also look like what type of quality are you looking for in your costume? Because let's see. Can we go back? That's the fastest way. Yay! This fur was only 50 euros a meter. So there's a big difference between this and that. And the difference is that this one is so tightly woven, you can't see the backing of it when shaving. And this is so incredibly loose that if the wind blows, you immediately see like what's below the fur. So really opt in that case what type of material you are looking for.
What was the first one?
Bonshop.nl.
That was the second one you said.
The first one, Cosplay.be. I don't have it done because otherwise I would have written it down for you.
Is goed.
Nee, I'll come back to you after this because I have it in my phone, but right now my brain is just.
Could I ask why you don't hang your wetsuit?
Because fur itself is heavy, and when it's wet, it also gets heavy. It's heavier, and there's a certain stretch to fabric.
Oh yeah.
So if it's heavy and it's stretched, this is an Under Armour sleeve, and if this happens and it hangs like this for a long time because it's drying, then that is not going to happen anymore. So this stretch will now be here. So the proportions are completely off.
Okay. Yeah, good to know.
We have a very long drop crotch version that's incredibly slim. So yeah.
Make it wet again.
Yeah. If something like that happens, you can indeed make it wet again and have the wet soggy mess on your body and move around a bit. That will help, but it might not be as comfortable as it was.
Yeah, the damage is done.
Yeah. Just like with hot air on fur, damage is done. But on that, if you have fur that's crinkled because of storage, a hair blower. If you put it on a hot, like dial it on hot and put it straight down, and you blow with the warm air in the direction of the fur. Same goes for plushies, by the way. The fibers straighten out again. But that won't happen if the fur itself is crinkly already from itself, because then that is also going to be straightened. But yeah, if you have damaged fur, that would be a way to help revive it. I'm now thinking if
What do you do for soles on feet? If you have
for soles on feet, EVA foam. They're at for the Dutchies among us, the Action. They have the gray plates that and I also have certain suits that do not have a fursuit sole at the bottom, and then I just take those floor plates, cut out a shape of the foot, put elastics around it, and you have sandals for your fursuit. So you can just walk around outside without that happening below your feet.
What was the worst fursuit you ever had to clean? Or have you cleaned other people's fursuit?
No, but because I did theater, I have cleaned other people's costumes, and we had a play in which there were holes in costumes, like there was someone with a hole here sewn in, but there also was someone that had a hole here, which was with a thread like bent together, so that was in the shape of pants. But getting those to look like pants again, once sewn, washed, because if one leg twists inside out, normally you can see that's one leg and that's the other leg. In that case, we couldn't figure out where there was a weird bunch of fabric here. But it was because one leg had twisted around so much into itself that it just created a weird lump. And that took us, I think, 2 people and 1 evening to figure out what happened with that thing. So yeah. If you have a costume with like holes in it, I would suggest getting skin-colored mesh and sewing that into the backing to prevent things twisting around weirdly.
Maybe a washing bag.
A washing bag is also a great option. They have the bags for delicates. If you have fursuit paws without clay or plastic claws, you can also put it in a bag for delicates. Or a pillowcase and tie that up, that also works. But bags for delicate stuff is a lifesaver. If you have a very long tangly wig that's curled, you can also just put it in there, rinse it out in water a bunch of times and hope for the best. Before you put it on a wig head again and then let it air dry. Yeah, that's how I would suggest doing that.
Also, do you have a full suit? If you have a convention or went somewhere and you want to air it out there, do you have some fan systems with you so you can?
I am trying to make a fan system, which by I laugh, which is PVC pipes, like a cloth hanger made of PVC pipes with a tube on it that can connect to like a normal floor fan. Scuba divers often use those, and a very quick and dirty way to like air out a fursuit would also be 2 cloth hangers with dowels between them, so there's space between it. If you hang a costume over that, there is an air pocket inside of the costume, and that way there's also more airflow to air it out.
Yeah, I've also seen someone use PC fans for it.
Yeah.
So
it's also inside of my first muzzle, not at this moment because mine is removable, but there's also a PC fan. Because this gets incredibly warm and there is not a lot of airflow inside. So right about here in the muzzle there is a PC fan, but it had to be repaired because last PonyCon Holland my fan broke during a fursuit panel, so that's recorded as well. But yeah, if you can install fans into your costumes or install ways of getting warmer or cooler, do it. I've also heard of people with entire like full vest with ice pockets and water tubes running around, and that's a lot of money.
If you want to see
if
how
you know
it's
the
done,
places that can be
Savage has a video on it.
Yeah. What did you say?
I have that sort of stuff. I have ice cooling fans and I've made my own water cooling. Yeah.
I'm just like gonna stay with these.
I don't even use those anymore.
Balaclava, in my opinion, is just very nice because you don't have to like clean the inside of your head as often.
Yes.
With Olivier, I also have. Let's see if I can get you that.
For the hanging, there is also a dedicated scuba diving gear thing.
This is removable padding. Right on top of my forehead, this is a close contact point with my mask. and my lower jaw is a close contact point. The lower jaw is made out of a Warbler cup, so it molds perfectly to my jaw, which is also why if people ask, can I put them on? No, because it won't be comfortable, it won't fit, so no. But this, after a con, I can throw it into the washing machine, and he's basically clean. I of course like disinfect the entire thing and wipe it down, but everything that touches my face directly is machine washed.
Smart.
I think on the last panel there was also thought about the mold.
Yes, mold in fursuits.
If you don't dry it long enough.
If you don't dry it long enough, or if
That's right. Don't ever wash your suit a few weeks before a convention. Always a few months. Preferably
time ahead.
as he said.
Yes. And I also am seeing a trend in which people use paper in their fursuits, like a paper mask and stuff along those lines. Well, it can be safe. Try not to do it. Try to make everything you make your costume out of as safe as possible, because a molded fursuit you can just throw away. That won't be salvageable. Because once there gets mold in there, that spreads out, and before you've caught where everything moldy is, you've basically a dissected animal on the table. So try to make it as safe as possible, your costumes. Same goes with cosplay masks, same goes with cosplay everything else.
Or it dry.
They really did it out of paper, because I've seen some people use Papakura just to make the
the patterns and stuff for EVA foam. Some people skip that part. I also heard a lot of people that make a duct tape pattern of their head, cut out their fabric, and use the duct tape and then glue. So I think it's a little bit of don't do your research. Please do your research on materials. But yeah, it happens. And those people are also the type of people that if you say, hey, be careful, that's not very safe. I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Okay.
Possibly go out.
Fuck around and find out. But yeah, that's that bit. Please be safe in your costumes. Do you guys have any more questions? You can also tackle me outside again. And if you want to go enjoy the con, have fun. Because I literally can't milk this anymore.